conditions, you could help out from another country, telling them this is how it's organized in our country. These are the measures of protection that we have. This is the level of training that we get. And that could be valuable information for those countries where they're still working on that. And it can be strictly national matter, but even there, a European Works Council can be very helpful. And again, this will certainly create a high level of trust. People will be very happy that you can support them, and it will create a better coherence in the group. A bit in the line of clear rules of hierarchy actually also. Something in that same line is, with regard to coherence then, making sure you have clear rule, a clear goal, a common goal. Decide about what your priorities are. Otherwise you're going to go in 10 different directions, and you will keep having different expectations. And those expectations will never be met with, they will never be filled in, because nobody ever decided. There was never a common decision about this is where the way forward. And you cannot work on 10 different things at the same time. You have to set really top priorities. It's one of the things you can work on in trainings as well. And once you set your priorities, build a work program so that everybody knows this is what we're working at. By the end of next year, we will have some plan, some analysis of, say, working time in our company coming from the different countries, and we will try to develop some common position on that as a European Works Council. Define your priorities, decide about a work program. Work together to realize those common goals. And that too will promote a good coherence in the group. And it will avoid having too many different expectations and going in all sorts of directions. Second C, communication. Well, the image that I want you to have in your mind is this. These are the communication lines, and there's many of them that all need to be well checked, need to be under control to be efficient as a European Works Council. The blue lines are the European connections. Connections between the members of the European Works Council from different countries, connections between the European Works Council and the Select Committee, connections to central management, connections even to where you have it, employee members at the supervisory board level. In European companies, this is a European thing, and very often members of the supervisory board are then appointed by what is called the representative body, European Works Council or the European company. They can provide you with interesting information as well. They have a certain duty also of reporting back on what the discussions were about, with, of course, respective confidentiality rules, but have a certain duty of reporting back about what has been discussed at that level. So there too, an important line of information. But even for European Works Council, where you don't have a European level supervisory board representation, I think even at national level, members of a supervisory board in Germany or Austria, for instance, if they are representing staff in a multinational company, they also have some kind of a transnational responsibility. The red lines are the national contacts between, of course, the members from one country, but going through also local management who can provide some specific information, national representatives, local staff. We have the obligation now to inform local staff about the outcome and the content of the discussions in the European Works Council, national trade unions, etc. So, many different lines of communication, which all go in two directions. Communication is never a one-direction thing. Also something you have to keep in mind. We have a shared responsibility. It's not just members of the European Works Council often expecting their secretary or chairman to inform them. It's also in the other way around that information has to flow. So a lot of lines that need to be looked at. When you work on your communication, also think very well about what are the best tools for the particular purpose. Not any tool will be practicable in every situation. What's my goal? Who do I want to inform? And what is the best way to communicate? Internally, obviously, we think first about, I'm not going to mention Facebook again, but at least email, mobile phones, etc. The language problem may never be an excuse. There's free tools, software tools available on the internet, like Google Translate. It's not perfect. It's never going to replace interpreters, real translators, but it is useful to circulate short messages. Even if it's just to say, and this is it really, sometimes it's very simple things that can help building trust and coherence. Simply congratulating each other with a birthday, or saying Happy New Year, or simply how are you? For those kind of sentences, Google Translate is more than enough. And it combines all possible languages. Reports, websites, this is an example of the Air France KLM European Works Council, where they've built a very nice website with presentations. This is the Austrian representative, by the way, of KLM. With videos, presentations by the members. Many European Works Councils are working on that, but again, maybe this is probably not the best way of communicating between the members. It's communication towards all staff. There has to be a webmaster. If you do that, you have to make sure that you have new content regularly, or else people will simply not check it anymore. In some cases, well, general assemblies are possibilities, or even posters can still be a good way of communicating, again, depending on who you're going to communicate to, in what countries, what are the local possibilities. In some countries you will be able to move around, speak to every person individually. In other countries you will have to limit yourself to reports, or even a simple poster announcing that there has been a meeting or something like that. But the main idea is, and actually that's what always works best, that's talk to each other. Talk to each other. And again, don't use the language as an excuse. There's always possibilities to overcome that. It's not even necessary, perhaps, to speak directly from person A to person B. The person C might be able to translate between you. So use the resources that you have, again, in your European Works Council. Ask around who speaks what language, simply. It's also something which is often not even done. But look at your own group. Who speaks what kind of language? I think I'm running out of time, aren't I? Yeah. As I said, I speak too long. I'll try to be brief and wrap it up quickly. I'm on the third C now, so third C, the captain, the structure. Try to be clear in the organization of your European Works Council, where there are certain responsibilities for the whole group, there are specific responsibilities for a select committee, and probably even more for a chairman or secretary, depending on what system you have opted for. What is very important also is that you try to put that down in some kind of internal rules, where management has nothing to do with, but which simply clarify what is expected from every member of the European Works Council, that you prepare the meetings, that you read the information you get, what is expected from every member of the select committee, what is expected from the chairman. Those who take up such a central role probably should be able to speak different languages, should be diplomatic, because they represent the whole group, and they have to be able to also have to be a bit of a fireman. If there's a conflict arising between different members, if you're the chair, you'll have to try and at least avoid not to be in the center of the conflict, but to try and put out the fire and solve the problems that might arise. You will be the central point of communication, all those communication lines. If you have a specific role centrally as a member of the select committee, you have to make sure that it all keeps working. You are in the center of the network with other contacts. You have to be a team player. It's not, again, some people, once they are chairman of the European Works Council, think that they are the big boss and they will do everything, and they have privileged contacts with management, etc. That's not how it works either. That might just create distrust. So make sure that you communicate continuously with your colleagues, that other people get other responsibilities. Don't take everything on board yourself. And you probably will have to be, if you listen to all that, kind of a Superman or Superwoman. Fortunately, you are not alone to do this. And this could be, these are the last few slides I want to show you, and I'll run through them quickly. You're not alone. You have different circles that can help you, different levels of support that you can find. I've defined that in 3 different circles. The inner circle is the first one with the members. The deputies, very often the deputies are never informed about what happens in the European Works Council. So if they all of a sudden have to step in, how can they be integrated quickly if they have never had any information before? Communication line which is often forgotten. The chairman, the secretary, the select committee, central management, the board members if you have them. Second circle of support is what I call the contact circle, where you have local staff, local trade workers' representatives, and also the support by your local trade unions. These are the Belgian trade unions. In your case, it would be GPA-djp, DGB, Hans-Böckler Stiftung in Germany probably also organizes training for European Works Council members. All the support that you can find also at the European level from the federations, European federations who also organize congresses, training, etc. for European Works Councils. Local management, sometimes also a forgotten source of possible information. The communication lines on management level don't always work very well either. So sometimes you have better information than they have, and on the other hand you can find extra information at that level for sure. And then the third circle is what I call the support circle, where you have all different other organizations which connect to European Works Council, not directly to yours, but where you can find extra information. First of all, well, one of the things we're doing here, exchange with people, workers' representatives from other European Works Councils. It's always good to exchange best and even bad practices, to know how you could have handled things. There's the European Trade Union Confederation, the International Trade Union Confederation. It can be helpful to find contacts if you are a global multinational company, to find contacts perhaps in China, in South America, wherever. The institute that I work for, where you can find also trainers and expertise. Other specialists, these are two groups that you find in France, Tickefi and Sandex, but every country has that kind of strategic expert, etc., who can make the analysis of the annual figures, etc. Look for the expert that can best support you with regard to the specific problem that you have. And these are also consultancy agencies in some way, which provide also training for EWCs. We do training, but we certainly can't do everything. And there's others that we certainly can rely on who are closely related to the trade union movement, like Van Differmark in the Netherlands, or TCI, which is a German organization. So I've had to run through it quickly, but I hope you will have that in mind a bit, and I wish you good luck with using the practical tips that I wanted to share with you to make sure you have an efficient, professional and coherent European Works Council. Sorry for taking so much time.